Hi guys! Welcome back to In a Creating with Kiro. Today I have Tanai with me from The Idol Creative. So would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yeah. My name is Tanai and once again I'm from The Idol Creative. So I basically just have an Instagram and a YouTube that kind of just delves into anything that is creative based off of what I feel like I want to do that day. So whether it's like doing DIYs or, you know, doing fashion or makeup content or anything of that nature. I've called it The Idol Creative because I started this channel at a time when we were in a pandemic and I wanted to, you know, make better use of my time. So idle hands, yeah. That's the reason why I made this channel. So yeah.
That was a strong intro, man.
I feel like the same thing with the perfectionist thing that you were talking about. Looking back, even though it's only like last year, at my first videos.
Yeah.
I can't watch them. I'm just gonna leave it there because I feel like it's good to look back.
Yeah.
But I'm just not gonna watch it for now because I just know it's gonna be cringe. And even when people say, "Oh, watch a YouTube video, I really like it," I'm like,
it literally makes me literally. I don't think that's imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that's important because I feel the same way. Like I refuse to look at any of my old YouTube videos. I refuse to look at like my any of my old sometimes I even archive my Instagram posts, like anything. I just literally just like hide them because I'm just like, this is cringe. And then when sometimes people are like, yeah, what's your video? Or, oh my gosh, tell me what you. I'm literally like, okay,
so that's
why
nice. Have this conversation.
Yeah, literally. Can we just move it? Can we just move on?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's partly imposter syndrome for me anyway, because I think that I know that I'm capable of doing things, but then sometimes I'm always thinking that I always should be better, or like there's always someone out there that's more qualified than me or could have done the job a lot better than me.
Yeah. Do you think you have imposter syndrome because with like something creative, it's so dear to your heart? It's like, it's not just, oh, you're talented. It's like, I actually put my heart into this.
Yeah, literally. Because I wouldn't say I'm more talented because I don't think that this whole creative thing is new to me. I would have never before last year, I would have never called myself a creative. I would have just said I'm just someone who just like, I was doing all of this for fun. Like, it was just a hobby for me. I didn't think anything would come of it. Like, my mind's completely changed. My mindset's completely changed in regards to my profession and what I want to do. Before, I never thought I was a creative. I was just doing this just for fun, just to see where it would go.
So was this even like when you were younger, at school, college, you never had that kind of creative?
No.
Wow.
Like, I used to draw and stuff, but I just used to do it just for the sake of doing it. I never did it thinking, like I'm a creative, or I can create this thing. Like,
did you think it was enjoyable? Or did you think you was good at it, or was it just?
It was enjoyable.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like my sister. Like, she's creative. Like, most of my family's quite creative, and I was always the one who was more like I have like more organizational skills, if that makes sense. So like, I just like planning stuff. I like sorting things out. Creative stuff was not my thing. So yeah, just to actually this year like step into being a creative, this is the first time I'm able to like say that I am one, but before I would never see myself as one at all, like literally.
That's quite interesting because like in a few other videos you've asked people, do you think you can like learn creativity, or do you think people are born with it? So it's quite interesting hearing like your thoughts, but like, do you think it's something that you are actually born with and you just need to unlock it, or do you think you can like gain creativity as you get older? I don't know.
I think you can gain it because that's for me. Like, I don't know. That's a really strange one because again, I guess someone else would be like, I've always had it. I just didn't know how to unlock it. So I don't know, but I think it can be developed. I think for everybody it can be developed, even if you don't see yourself as one. I think it can be developed at some point, and like you just have to find something that you're really like doing. But I think there's creativity in everything, so I think like even the word creative is quite subjective to the person and their journey as well.
True.
It's really
that's true. I've listened to a few podcasts where they said that you can be creative in different ways. So like you can have an office job and find creativity in that, in the way you like organise things or the way you come up with ideas for your
Yeah.
team and stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always mean you have to be like an artist.
Drawing or
Yeah.
singing or dancing.
You can
Yeah.
definitely- So I think like for me at school, I always enjoyed like art and making things. But I felt like when I really felt like I unlocked it and really enjoyed it was when I started getting into photography, which I never thought I would. I didn't get like, I think I mentioned this in one of the other videos, but I didn't understand why people even chose photography. I was like, why did you choose photography?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Where's that gonna take you?
Yeah.
But when I actually started doing photography, like once I left school, left college, I actually really, really enjoyed it, and it felt like that was my way of like unloading my creativity. So do you feel like for you it was like once you found like your creative outlet, then you realised like, whoa, this is really fun?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, I've like always done like, so my things that I like doing was makeup and like a little bit of like fashion stuff as well. And then like I used to have a YouTube channel, but I just did it for fun. And then I think during like last year, I realised that there's two things I like doing. I like organising stuff. So like if we ever go on holiday, right? When I go on holiday with people, there's always an itinerary. There's like literally a list of things that we're doing for the whole of that time that we're on holiday. And I just like creating things like, so I think I have quite like a visual mind. So I thought to myself, maybe for me, my creativity is not necessarily like being the person like shooting the camera, using the camera, or the person that's making stuff. Maybe my creativity comes from someone tells me an idea and I plan it for them. So that is like my thing that I think that I'm good at, is like, I don't know if that's called like a creative director. I'm stepping into those shoes. I'm gonna step into those shoes. Yeah, I'm gonna step into those shoes. I think that I am someone is, you tell me what your vision is and I help you to create that vision.
Lies self-manifestation.
Yeah, because like
that's
literally, because before I kept saying like, oh, I want to be a creative director, and like people be like, Tanai, why do you keep saying that you're gonna be like, you are one? Just say that you are one. Like believe in yourself that you are one. So now I guess I'm saying that I'm a creative director, but I'm just like someone who like, I'm all about like visuals. So like if you say to me, Tanai, I want to plan like a photo shoot, I'm like, okay, let me go on Pinterest and like put together a whole mood board. This is what it's gonna look like, and I'll like scout the locations, I'll scout like the styling, and then I'll ask my sister like, hey, like, cause she's a stylist, I'll be like, hey, do you think these go together? I'll pick the models, I'll even put together a playlist for that, but for the shoot, like I'm that type of person. So like if you need things done in regards to like having a vision and like following it through, I'm the person that you go to for it, kind of.
I think there's definitely a space for that. That's really
I hope so.
Yeah, that's really cool. Before we go further, let me just like introduce you and stuff. I feel like we're not talking about you. But I hate doing this part.
I know, it's the worst part ever.
Literally, it makes me cringe every time. Hi guys! Welcome back to In a Creative with Kiro. Today I have Tanai with me from The Idol Creative. So would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yeah. My name is Tanai, and once again I'm from The Idol Creative. So I basically just have an Instagram and a YouTube that kind of just delves into anything that is creative, based off of what I feel like I want to do that day. So whether it's like doing DIYs or, you know, doing fashion or makeup content or anything of that nature, I've called it The Idol Creative because I started this channel at a time when we were in a pandemic and I wanted to, you know, make better use of my time. So idle hands, yeah. So that's the reason why I made this channel. So yeah.
That was a strong intro, man.
I think so. I was like,
She rehearsed what you're doing.
well, and the thing is, I didn't even rehearse it. That's what's so funny. I didn't.
That's so good. No, like I feel like whenever people ask me like a question like that or what do I do, my mind goes blank. Like, I forgot my
Literally.
name. I'm like,
Do you know
even
why I think I'm able to do it is because you know how you said you hate to do the introductions? I've had to like do my introductions to my YouTube video so much that I'm just like, it just kind of comes off my mouth. Like it just comes off the tongue. But yeah.
How long have you had the YouTube for?
It's been over a year now. Yeah, but I had it before, like I had it like years ago. So it's been like 6 years I've had a YouTube channel in general, but I only just started it again last year. So yeah, it's been about a year. yeah.
That's really cool. I feel like you post quite regularly on YouTube, it seems. How do you like get the ideas, or do you kind of have a list, or?
I'm a planner.
Okay.
Like, I literally am a planner. Like, I come up, like, my mind is always doing overtime. It's always doing overtime. There's always ideas just popping into my head. So I literally just I specifically have a notepad for like my projects and stuff. So I literally just like plan ahead of what I want to do. I'm less frequent with my YouTube now, more frequent with my Instagram, because I'm trying to get to like 1,000 followers by the end of this year. But yeah, I just plan. I just have ideas and I just write them down and then just plan them for I always have once a week, because I work full time. Once a week I have a day, which is my content day. So that's a day where I just like shoot all the content I need, and then Friday or during the weekend I'll literally just plan it and schedule it and put it up there. Yeah,
that's cool. So you mentioned that this is what you do for fun, but have you thought about, or can you see it get into a place where you'll start making money from it and it becomes a business?
I didn't before. However, I have found like my Instagram has drawn quite a lot of attention recently, and I've actually had a few people ask me to like be their content managers or be their social media managers and like arrange their Instagram.
Yeah, because yours is very like curated.
Yeah, like I love that stuff. Like to me, like doing a feed is like scrapbooking, I guess. So a lot of people have reached out to me about it, and I think this is where the imposter syndrome thing comes in, because I'm just like, but I'm not qualified, like how, and then it kind of like makes me feel weird now, because then I also have to basically put a price on my worth.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that scares me.
Yeah.
So I would love to have it as a job, but I think first I have to get over that hump of thinking that I'm like underqualified, or that they could pay somebody else and they could do it better. But I have to also realize that someone might be more qualified than me to do it and might have more experience, but they're not me.
Yeah.
And they're not going to do it the same as me. So I'm trying to like put some respect on my name.
Yeah.
Myself.
Them people have come to you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah.
So they rate you already.
That is the thing. Yeah, literally.
So they need to get the wallets out.
Yeah. So it's literally like, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's why I say I'm like my biggest critic, because I'm just like always constantly thinking you could do better, or you could, yeah.
I think it's hard because, like you said as well, when you enjoy it, it even more feels weird that you're like charging people.
Yeah, that's it.
This is fun, but obviously it is a lot of work and time.
So much work, yeah.
So it makes sense, but it is weird because it's like, and like you said, the imposter syndrome. It's like, oh, but I've only been doing this for so long. There's way more people that are more qualified than me.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So that's really interesting.
Yeah, well, I would love to get paid for it, and I would love. I don't know if. I would love to be paid as a creative director, or I would love to maybe in the future like put together a team and like offer like a full service to someone, like have like a stylist on hand, me be the creative director, I have like a person who shoots the videos, a videographer, I have like a photographer, all kinds of like someone, like a whole team, and then just be able to like, if someone like an influencer or whoever wants to come along and they have like a whole team that's planning their entire concept or project, that would be ideal. But baby steps.
I think you should definitely do that, and I think you'll get there because that sounds sick.
I would love to, but yeah, I don't know what's stopping me from doing it, but
I think you can do it. I think you talk a good game.
I really do. I talk too much. I've got a big mouth. That is all it is. That's literally it. I do. The thing is, I have so many ideas and I have so many things planned. It's just I'm in the way of getting those things done. I'm always in the way. I'm always in my own way in getting things done. So I'm kind of trying to like step out of that and like step out of my comfort zone this year. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people can relate to that because, like you said, like you enjoy things and then it's actually stepping out of the comfort zone to do it, and then in the back of your mind you're thinking, but am I even good enough?
Yeah.
And it's like you keep having this back and forth.
It's literally, that's it. It's like a conflict within yourself. So it's just really hard sometimes. But yeah, I'm slowly getting out of that. Slowly.
Yeah. And it's funny because people will say like, oh, you don't need other people, what's the word? You don't need other people's praise.
Yeah. Sometimes sometimes you really, really need it.
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like, well, I think a lot of people that I speak to that have creative jobs, I think all of them go through those stages where they feel like they're not good enough, or
100%.
like, you know, and then it just takes one person to be like, oh, I loved what you did that on that thing, or whatever, and it just makes you feel like, okay, like
I'm doing it for the right, like I'm on the right lines, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, I definitely agree. But it's just one of those things you have to work on, I guess. But I'm also trying to like enjoy the process of it all, and not thinking of like my end goal. Like I think sometimes when you consistently think about your end goal all the time, you really forget. And like, I'm not saying that I'm gonna get like big, or because that's not my idea of why I want to do this. Like I really do enjoy it, but say if I do get to the point where I am self-employed, or I have my own business and I've got like so many clients and stuff, like I just want to make sure that I'm really enjoying them now and enjoying the whole process of doing it, because it could be more of a struggle, or I might not enjoy it as much when I get to that point. So it's just about just taking your time and really like working on your craft, I guess. So yeah, it's a really interesting one.
But what would you say is like your biggest inspiration?
Oh, that's a big question, and I have no clue. I always find like questions like this question, and you know, sometimes when like you do interviews and people are like, oh, so tell me a bit about yourself, or tell me 5 things that no one knows about you. I'm like, I don't know what that is. What's my biggest inspiration?
Or let's say, what are certain things that you do or you listen to or whatever that kind of triggers like creativity? Like I've heard from some, like, I don't know who it was, I forgot who it was, but in a podcast they were like, they take showers and they get inspiration. Honestly, I listened to this podcast the other day and they were like, this guy has taken like 7 showers a day once just to get more
to get inspiration.
He's got a shower in his office.
Yeah, he gets it there.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So
but it just allows his mind to like think when he's
I think I don't have like a specific thing that gives me inspiration, but this one thing I have learned, and I learned it from somebody else, and I don't know who I learned it from. I think it was a YouTuber, but they basically said what you should do every day is you should basically set aside 1 hour a day just to, and turn off your phone, no distractions, and just like have a pen and a pad and write down like whatever comes to your head. And that has helped me come up with loads of ideas, because I've literally had, like, all I've done is probably have music on, but I've literally just had a pen and paper, and I've literally come up with 3 projects within that hour. So things like that, I think, have really been inspirational to me. I also find like inspiration from, so, you know Tayana Taylor? I really like her, and I just really like how like she's able to like, she's kind of multifaceted, as in she can sing, she can dance, but also as well she's really good at like coming up with concepts and like being behind the scenes and being like, this person needs to look that way or that person needs to look that way. And like she just kind of reminds me of like a boss woman, like someone I aspire to be. So yeah, I would say that's kind of my thing, but I don't have like a specific inspiration, I guess. Like, yeah, I think
that's really interesting what you said with like the pen and paper and just writing down ideas. Because they do say like, now that we have so much technology, and I feel like a lot of us can fall into that trap where like, say you're queuing up in a shop or something, or you're at a bus stop, the first thing you do is you're on your phone just like scrolling just so you don't look awkward standing there. But sometimes it's good to like just daydream. Like 100%. I feel like so much creativity has been killed sometimes from technology. But people forget sometimes it's good to just think.
Yeah,
like, and just let your mind wander.
Yeah,
you could come up with so much ideas.
And I just feel like there's something like magical, but not like, you know, like I think there's something so magical about like seeing that you've written, like, I don't know, like writing something on paper and like seeing it right there in front of you, and then being able to like tick that off, or like say you've done that or you've tried something with that. I just think that it's just really, there's something about it that just really just motivates me, I guess. It's really interesting. But yeah, definitely like pen and paper, and just put your phone off, like have some downtime and just let your mind wander. Plenty of stuff comes to me, in regards to that.
So earlier you mentioned that this kind of all started. You say it all started like around the start of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So one, what made you decide to do this during the pandemic? Or start with that.
If I'm honest, the reason why I started is because I had a shopping addiction and I was tired of no one seeing my new outfits or like my makeup. I kid you not, I wish I was joking, but I genuinely was like, I've got all these clothes from ASOS or Misguided or Pretty Little Thing. And like, why don't I like do some hauls or do some stuff on my YouTube channel? And that's just how it started. That's how I decided to do it. I genuinely just thought, I said to my sister that she was like, do you think I should just do it just for now and then like when everything opens back up again? Because I kept saying to everybody like, this YouTube channel's not going to be around for long. Like, as soon as we come out of lockdown, like, it's done. Like, I'm just doing this for now because there's nothing else to do. And I ended up just sticking with it. So yeah.
It's really interesting. Would you say as well, like during, because obviously you started that during the pandemic, and a lot of other people started like little businesses or like started YouTube, like even me, like started this YouTube
yes.
channel. Do you think like seeing other people also kind of explore their creativity, did that have any like effects on you as well with your YouTube? Or are you a lone ranger?
I'm a lone ranger. I am a lone ranger. I try not to follow everybody else, but I will say that like I started it and I was like, oh, this is something that I really enjoy doing, but it's been nice and encouraging and inspiring seeing everybody else do it. And like I'm a big supporter. Like anytime you're like, oh, I've got this, I've got that, like I'm the first one to follow or first one to share on my story or anything like that. But I genuinely think like, for me specifically, I try not to follow everybody else. I kind of just try to do my own thing and do what suits me. So yeah, I just decided then just jump.
No, that's really good. I feel like it's so easy to get wrapped up in what everyone's doing because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I kind of have that personality where it's like FOMO. Like if I see
yes.
Like if I see these people doing something, I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun. Like, I mean, like I said before this whole chat, we were talking about like people who make candles or like jewelry and stuff. Yeah. And to be honest, I've always liked making things. Like as a kid, like I'd watch Art Attack, and if I didn't have all the tools he had, I'd like find a cardboard box and like start cutting stuff up. Nice. And like, I just find anything in the house to kind of resemble what he's made. Yeah. And like, so when I've seen people like start making things, like it just looks so fun. I was like, I kind of want to get involved, but then I kind of thought, do you know what? That might not be for me. And also, I wanted to focus on the photography. Yeah. So rather than just doing what they were doing, I thought I enjoyed watching what they were doing because I thought we're in a pandemic and they've decided to do something creative and fun, and it also brings them money. So it kind of brought me out of my sulking mode of, oh my gosh, I can't do any photography because I'm in a pandemic. And it made me start to try and think more creatively, what can I do? So it's like, okay, I can't do this right now, but what can I do instead? Yeah. And that's when like the YouTube was born kind of thing. So it was like, I can't go out and take photos, but I can talk about photography.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
And so it's like, there's other ways to do it. So, but
I thought this whole concept, I think it is really cool. Like I was like, when you put out the first video, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so sick. And I was literally like, I would love to be on her thing. And then when you messaged me, I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. But I think it's so great because you like, it also shines a light on people that maybe you would have never thought of as a creative before, and it's like helped me to like understand like, oh, I could go to this person for that, or I can go to that person for that. So I think it's really amazing. I do. I really do think it's amazing. I think it's great. So yeah, I definitely love it. I really love the whole concept.
I didn't really know how it.
Like, what made you come up with like? Did you just wake up one day and just be like, I'm gonna, like, what made you decide to do it?
I don't know. I feel like the YouTube, like, starting that, I've always wanted to do YouTube for a long time, like, from school.
Okay.
But I don't know. I feel like probably Q, like, helped me actually do it. Because I was sulking hard.
Oh.
Like, I was just like, I can't do anything. And he's very good with that. He's just like,
Okay.
okay, cool. Well, we're not gonna get anywhere from sulking. So
Yeah.
let's think of something we can do.
I would love that. Shout out.
Shout out to Keith. So I think I was proper nervous with that, but thankfully with a few friends as well, like encouraged me, just do it. But yeah, so that was just kind of me talking about photography, and then I don't really remember like how I came up with the idea of like interviewing other people.
Okay.
But I think maybe it was just seeing all these people doing stuff. It was just like, oh, that's really cool. I'd love to get to know more about it. Might as well record it.
Nice.
So it kind of was like that. But yeah. But with like your YouTube and your Instagram, I feel like for me, seeing your Instagram looks very professional. Like it's very curated.
Wow.
Like I think from people from the outside looking in, I don't think they know necessarily that is just your hobby. Like I think they think this is something you do like for work.
Okay.
But where do you see this going forward? Like have you got a kind of vision of where you'd like it to go, or have you thought about that yet?
I mean, I don't like the word influencer. I actually genuinely hate that word. It makes me cringe. I'd rather say I'm a content creator. So ideally, I would like maybe by the end of this year or next year to be able to get paid to create content. I would love to do that. Ideally, it would be travel content because I'm not meant to be in this country. I'm meant to be traveling the world. So I would like to do like get paid for travel content. I also would like to like go freelance and actually like maybe help other people with their social medias as well. And yeah, and then my idea about starting a whole team and doing that, I think that would be really, really good. Like I would like to step into this whole creative directing role a little bit more and see where that takes me.
Yeah, I think since like last year, everyone going on furlough and whatnot, I think that's really made, and working from home, it's made people realise how much you can do from home.
So much! So much!
So I think like online working, obviously with what you'd want to do, it could start online or like people finding you online and stuff,
Yeah.
but then you could like meet up with them. I know you didn't like coffee, but you could meet up with them at a coffee shop and like
for a green
have like
tea.
for a green tea and like have meetings with people and like brainstorm.
Yeah.
And all of that, which is really cool.
I think you can imagine myself in like a little office, just being like, step into my office, and like having like a selection of drinks for everyone to have, and just like literally having like just planning. Like I just love planning stuff, just like being able to like meet a client's needs and being like, if this is what you want, like, and just presenting that to them. Like I just that's my thing. That's my hope for the future anyway. So we'll see what happens.
Hello, friend.